If you're thinking about retiring in Hua Hin and Thailand, guys, this is the video for you. I'm going to look at 10 classic kind of mistakes that a lot of people make when they come over to Thailand. The first mistake a lot of retirees make when they first come to Thailand would be underestimating, how hard it is to get a retirement visa in Thailand. There are financial requirements that you need to meet. You have to do 90-day reporting, which you can do online now, which makes it easier. And you have to annually renew it, guys. There are other options you can do when you come to Thailand with visas, but this is the main one that people use. I think it's especially more difficult when you're outside of the country as well, guys. The second mistake a lot of retirees make is not considering health insurance when they come to Thailand and the price of health insurance. Health insurance can be quite expensive when you come to Thailand, especially when you're over 50 years old. And, some people do have pre-existing medical conditions, which will affect how much you're going to have to pay. I mean, everyone is very individual on insurance and, how much it will cost for them. There are certain companies that are better for older expats in Thailand and retirees than younger ones. And they specialize in the older expats. And I'm going to be doing that in a future video, guys. Some people don't have medical insurance over here, and it only takes one big event, one big accident, and you can send yourself bankrupt even if you're loaded over here, guys. So some kind of emergency situation. So it is essential to get health insurance over in Thailand. Number 3 would be choosing the wrong location in Hua Hin. Some people maybe choose to be too far away from the town and they feel like a little bit isolated, and they're always having to drive into the town instead of walk in. And the other opposite, you might be too close to town, too close to some of the tourist areas. And so, it's going to be quite noisy. So you have to kind of pick a location that suits, yourself. Personally, myself, I think it's better to live a little bit outside of Hua Hin myself and then drive in. But that's my own opinion. Number 4 would be not budgeting for the exchange rate. I know a lot of you guys coming from Australia, England, America, Canada, the exchange rate varies immensely, year to year. At the moment, the baht is very, very strong. I'll put on the exchange rates now on the screen for the different countries. This is going to affect your pension. This is going to affect your income in Thailand. If you're earning a certain amount and it's going into a bank account, let's say in England, and by the time it's exchanged, that could be up and down month to month because the exchange rate is constantly changing, guys. And at the moment, the baht is very, very strong. Number 5 would be, not learning Thai to an intermediate level. You don't have to be fluent, but it definitely helps to integrate into the culture, to get a girlfriend here, and just have an easier life over in Thailand if you learn at least a little bit. It's quite cheap now to get lessons. You can have group classes and so many videos online now to learn. Number 6 would be underestimating, how much it costs to live in Thailand. Thailand is a very, very cheap country, and yes, you can live here for 30,000 baht a month, which is about $1,000 US. But, your lifestyle is going to be compromised on that amount of money. So you need to look into the amount it costs to live in Thailand. Now, coming as a tourist is very different than living here as an expat or a retiree. Anyone who's lived here a long time kind of knows you can't live on this basic amount of money. When you live in here full time, you have things that crop up, every 2-3 months that, in life, that's just life. Things crop up that you have to pay for. When you just come for 2 or 3 months, it's quite easy to live on for $1,000. But, you live here long term, it's very, very different. Number 7 would be driving without a Thai driving license. Now, it is quite simple to get a driving license in Thailand. It is quite a simple process. So if you want to use an agency, you can do, or a Thai friend to help you. But it's quite a straightforward process. You do actually need a separate driving license for the car and a separate license for the bike. So I've actually got 2 licenses, one for the bike and then one for the motorbike and then one for the car too, guys. Number 8 would be not thinking about, flooding in Thailand and the rainy season. Thailand has a heavy rainy season and there's a lot of rain and it floods quite bad in some areas, guys. So if you're living in Hua Hin or other areas around Thailand, just think about this. Where is a good place to live and where floods and where it doesn't flood? Hua Hin is actually a very, very dry area. So it's one of the better places in the country to live for floods. But trust me, there's a lot of rain over in Thailand at certain times of year. The last big flood was back in 2011. That was just the year before I actually lived in Thailand. But I came here for a holiday for about 4 or 5 weeks, and I saw some of the flooding around Bangkok. And one of my mates in the apartment in Bangkok couldn't work for 6 weeks. He was flooded out. He basically just stayed in his apartment for 6 weeks. So, you know, the flooding can get very, very bad in different areas around Thailand. Number 9 would be expecting Western standards everywhere. Now, in Hua Hin, there is, you know, a lot of Western facilities, and, you know, the customer service, I think, is good in that area because they're used to Westerners. But in other areas around Thailand, it can be quite different. But you can't expect it all the time. You can't expect these Western standards everywhere. We are in Thailand. It is Thailand. It's a completely different country. So you have to, you know, give and take a little bit. Building a house here, you know, construction is slow sometimes. You're coming here for a slower pace of life. So I think, come on, guys, we should expect this in Thailand. Number 10 would be, you know, buying property too soon or rushing in. You need to just explore the area, especially around Hua Hin. And in future videos, I'm going to look at some different properties you can buy around that area. Now, I know some of you will shout, you can't buy properties in Thailand. Yeah, I know. So there are ways we can get around this. But, you know, some people do choose to buy villas in Thailand, buy houses in Thailand. And there are ways to do it. It's a little bit complicated. You know, you have to use an agent and people to help you to do it. It's not straightforward, but it isn't impossible, guys. And a bonus one for you guys who have stayed right to the end, guys. You know, ignoring cultural differences in Thailand. You know, Thailand is a Buddhist country, and there are some big differences between the West and Thailand. You know, one example would be, you know, taking your shoes off before you walk into the house. Another one would be not rubbing someone's head, especially monks. Another one would be, you know, not sitting on the front of the bus. The seat is saved for the monks on the front of the bus. And my favorite, you know, putting ice in the beer. Okay, just help us out on the video today, guys. If it's been of value to you, just, you know, press that red subscribe button. It really helps the channel and pushes the videos to more people like you who are looking to retire in Thailand. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you on the next video.